African.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to The Couch with me, Ama Pratt. Let me remind you that this is the only TV show with a heart. Let me remind you that today is a Friday. Thank God it's Friday. It's been a hard week, at least for me. I hope your week was better. This evening, I'm so hopeful that this conversation we're about to have would brighten up your evening and brighten up your weekend and set you up for an amazing week come next week, because this interview is one that I have been looking forward to for a while and I'm excited about. Did you hear the excitement in my voice? Excited about. I get to sit with a lady that I admire. I admire her so much, you know, and you will know why in a minute. I promise you, you don't want to miss the show. So get yourself comfortable while we bring you The Couch tonight. Take a quick commercial break. When we come back, you get to meet my guest. Stay there.
Are you searching for the perfect venue to host your next event? Look no further than Mirror's Event Plus. Discover the epitome of sophistication with our Skybox Event Center. This indoor marvel offers spacious hall area accommodating up to 500 esteemed guests. This beautifully designed space can be tailored to suit various event types, from weddings and corporate gatherings to cultural celebrations and more. We give you a kitchen space where your culinary creativity takes center stage, from gourmet feasts to delectable treats. Our kitchen is the heart of flavor and delight. Our luxurious washrooms ensure comfort and convenience for all attendees, as well as maintaining the elegance of a special day. Our breathtaking waiting area is designed to make a lasting impression, while our top-of-the-range changing rooms are befitting of the VIPs of your event. Experience nature's charm at Tichiwa's grounds. Host an unforgettable outdoor event at the spacious and beautiful Tichiwa grounds, featuring a large lawn or terrace area capable of accommodating up to 700 cherished guests. Our changing rooms also provide privacy and ease for your special guests. Call us now on 030-341-6266 or
My name is Benjamin Akakpo, and tonight I have a special invitation I'm throwing out to you. It's all about Pan-African TV, The Couch, and personality profile. And today they have a very interesting one coming your way. Someone I know, someone I've known for quite a while, a very affable personality. She commands authority, and when she's behind the steering, that's another issue. But she'll be flexing muscles this evening right here on The Couch on Pan-African TV. I don't know whether you can guess the person I'm talking about. She's been an editor at Joy News, and she is the no-nonsense kind. I wouldn't say Margaret Thatcher, no. She's friendly, she's firm, and she's diligent. And of course, she's one of those stars when it comes to women out there. She represents the female entity so well, making great strides. Her name is Araba.
Yes. Today I went for help. I hired a lawyer to do my intro for me. I don't do that often, to go and outsource the intro of my show. That should tell you something. So you know that my guest for this evening is the ever lovely, ever beautiful, ever efficient, ever, should I add more? Araba Kumsen! Oh my goodness, Ralph.
Finally.
I made
it to your couch.
Finally.
The prestigious couch.
You're here. It's a pleasure to have you.
It is a pleasure.
I don't know if I've said this to your face before. You know that I adore you, right? I hope you know this.
You adore everybody.
No.
In your nature. It's in your nature. So
no, I adore you.
Thank you. I adore you too.
But no, seriously, like you've. Where do I start? So, I mean, from when? It's been forever. You've always been here. You've always been in the media space. And you've always represented, like the true essence of what it is that we are all trying to do. You stay on the work, and that's what I love about you. It's when I think about Araba Kumsen, I think about journalism, right? Isn't that the whole point?
Wow.
I don't think about the fluff. Because there's a lot of fluff, right?
Yes, there is.
But when I think about you, I think journalism, I think work, I think ethics, I think what it should be. Thank you. I'll start from there.
That is a compliment, because to be known for your work ethic and not the fluff, as you say, it's really a big compliment. So a huge compliment, and thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you. You kind of show us the way. Thank you. And you've been around forever. You make me feel so old. I said it in the best of ways. Best of ways. How did your media journey start?
So I was in GIS. I had finished writing my O levels, and I had.
Pause. That's Ghana International School.
Ghana
so
International
DB.
School.
Proper DB.
Not at all. I'm how do you call the other one? Ejaba.
No, you don't even know what it's called.
No, I forgot. But yes, I'm an Ejaba. But my dad was a teacher. Right. He's retired now. So he was a teacher at GIS, and of course that's how we were able to get into GIS. And every time I mentioned GIS, people were like, "Hey, you have money. That wasn't it. The thing was that for teachers, they were giving a certain subsidy, so you don't pay the full amount for your children in the school. So yeah, that was the advantage that we had. So it was a good experience. So at O levels, I finished writing, but I didn't do well in maths, so I was rewriting maths. But I was bored and I wanted something doing, and I always loved reading. Growing up, I used to watch Beatrice Edu, the icon, reading news, and I'd stand in front of a mirror and imitate her. And GIS is in the Labone cantonment area, and I realized that Daily Dispatch was their newspaper, was there as well. So I thought, you know what, let me just, to while away the time whilst I'm waiting for my results, just do a year at Daily Dispatch. So I walked to Uncle Benefson's office, and then I said, I'd work for free. I don't mind not being paid. So I just want to write articles and all of that. And he was like, okay, why not? Sure, come on board. So I did, and I was writing. He was impressed with my writing, and I enjoyed it. He was confident in me to the extent that at a point he put me on the beat for the National Reconciliation Commission hearings. Remember the National NRC hearings when Rawlings? It was a whole, I don't know. I mean, it was a big thing. Let me just put it out. It was really big. You can Google it and see. But yeah, I mean, that's how I cut my teeth in journalism. I didn't really go to journalism school. I just walked into the newspaper, and I told the editor, you know what? I think I have good writing skills. I'm waiting for my results. And so within that time, can I just work for free here? And he says, okay, fine. And he was intrigued because people didn't come and ask him to work for free, even if it's for free, they will ask for transportation or something.
TNT.
I didn't. And I remember the first time I went for an assignment, you know what they call TNT?
Solid.
I didn't know what solid. I didn't know what it was, so they gave it to me, and I was like, so I brought it back to the editor. I was like, they gave me this money, I don't even know what it is for. Like, I didn't ask them for it.
DB,
Naive,
DB.
and
let's
just
call it DB. Let's call it what it is. DB.
No, not at all, not at all. If you see me throwing down in the kitchen, you realize that this is not DB cry. But people don't think I can cook. People don't think I can cook. People look at me and they're like, this girl looks DB. She looks like, she's always, in her books and whatnot. She can't cook.
But she sure can.
I'm a fancy, hello.
So, I mean, from Uncle Ben's Dispatch, when is? Because I remember you, Metro. I remember you.
Yes.
Right? From there, did you go to Metro?
Yes. So
Let's
I was
talk
at
about that. How
Dispatch
did you
for
end up
about
at
2.5 years.
Right.
And I took Kwame Nadaze, who used to be at Joy, on the Newspaper Review.
Yes.
Was always reviewing stories that I had written, So I think that he enjoyed the way I wrote the stories, and decided to find out. So I think he left Joy for a while and moved to Metro. At that point, he decided to look for me because Metro and Dispatch are within the same area, Laboni. So he came looking for me and said, will you be interested in working at Metro TV? And it was television. It was a huge opportunity. I was like, wow. But I didn't want to I didn't want to make Uncle Ben sad because I'd just been there for 2 years or so. But when I told him, he said, you know what, it's a great opportunity. So go and try it. I'm always, grateful to him for having such an understanding heart. And so that was how I made my way into Metro TV after 2.5 years at Daily Dispatch newspaper. Yes, so I went to Metro TV, and that's where my TV journey began. So yeah, it was quite interesting. That's how I got into Metro TV. And at the time, I remember we didn't have a prompter for the television news, so we'd actually write it on paper, a huge poster, and then hold it up for the anchor to read, throw it away, pick up the next one, hold it up for the anchor. That's what we're doing. It was amazing, but some way somehow it worked. And I mean, what made it beautiful was the passion with which we did it. I mean, the word journalism is beautiful when it's infused with passion, when you do it with passion. Yes.
And it shows. So at Metro, you were a news anchor, I'm guessing. How was the journey like? Because I know you've been through the ranks. I want you to talk me through the ranks.
So at Metro, I was a journalist. I was just a broadcast journalist. I wasn't an editor at the time. When I entered Metro, I entered as a reporter / broadcast journalist because I was still learning the ropes at the time. And so I entered there, and I was put on the parliamentary beat.
That's when I met you.
Exactly.
I don't know if you remember how we met. That's how we met.
That's a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. It was on these one of these veterans. They were going to vet new ministers. If I remember correctly, it was around the time of someone who Kujeta Blackwa, Dr. Maame Ama, and I had gone there to support, but you were there as a journalist. And I remember spying you, because it was a small room. And then after everything, I get a call from one of the names I mentioned. And the person is like, oh, Ira Compson asked for your number. Is it okay that I gave it? I'm like, oh, yeah, sure, of course. Ira Compson wants my number. Yes, give it.
Wow.
And you called.
Really?
Do you know what you asked for?
What did I ask?
My hair.
Seriously?
You're like, I never recall. Hello. This is Sarah. I was like, yes, I've been expecting you. I was like, oh, your hair. I really like your hair. I said, Jeremy is calling me. I want my hair.
Hey. What hairstyle was it? Do you remember?
It was braids. I used to play around with colors. So there was a bit of burgundy in there.
Okay.
Yes, I remember very, very
I have no memory of it.
I remember so well. And you know why it was so, I don't know, maybe that's where it's, because we've had other encounters since then. But what I remember about that encounter was just how not celebrity you were. You were just like any other normal lady. Because that's something I would do too, right? I would call up and say, oh, Charlie, your hair is really nice. Who did it, right? And it was just so. Does she not realize she's Araba Kumse? Like, does this lady not realize that?
I didn't have any sense of
so
importance.
Yes, yes, it's a beautiful, and I see you kept it all these years.
I think probably, I mean, how you're raised to is part of it, because my dad always told me that you need to be grounded in everything that you do, because you can easily be swayed in this kind of profession, you know. People can lift you up and then the next minute they're just, you know, throwing you down or under the bus again. So you need to be grounded and to be self-aware, and I think that has carried me along my journey, throughout my journey in journalism, and it's really helped. Sometimes people misinterpret it to be how do you call it? They think that you are self-centered or arrogant, or it really isn't, until they begin to see that there's more to it than meets the eye. Then they realize, but this girl, or you're rough, sir. But you know, sometimes you just have to, you know,
big time,
keep up appearances and pretend, you know.
We are proper.
Yes. You know, but yeah, it's been interesting.
Right. But I mean, now you're an editor. And, you know, I've seen the posts on your birthday. I read the posts. The big names, you know, everybody's celebrating, everybody's writing amazing things about you, you know. And, you know, sometimes when you think, but Araba is so young, right? And it's important for me, especially because we are female, you know, to be female, to be a boss in a space such as ours, where everybody feels so good. You are, and especially for a place like Joy, with all the big names and all the big egos, and all. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
I do.
And then it's you. It's you. It's a young lady that's the boss. How are you managing that space, and how are you keeping it, you know, so contained, such that they still love you the way that they do? Because it's a tricky balance, isn't it?
It is. It can be tricky, but you see, you have to be authentic, and I think that's what people see about me, that I am authentic and I am passionate about the job, and it shows in my work, really. I feel like even when I started at Metro and I was put on the beat, on the parliamentary beat, a lot of my colleagues were men, not women, and the women came later. So I felt like, if they can do it, why can't I do it? So I shouldn't hold myself back because I'm a woman. So I didn't let my gender hinder me. I felt like, you know, I have to go head to head with the guys, because, and when they see that, they respect that, you know, because oftentimes I see that when you're doing an interview with a public personality, when a male journalist is doing an interview, most often other male journalists also just put their microphones there and pick it up and then go and do their stories. They don't ask their own questions, you know, and same with females as well. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be the one asking my own questions, and I didn't want, and usually when I'm interviewing these personalities, MPs and the like, I don't want others bringing their, you know, how do you call it, microphones to, I'll tell them, no, you wait and let me finish, because also, I was trying to let them know that you also need to be able to be asking your own questions. Sit down, research the topic, and then come and ask the questions. You can do it, rather than waiting and, you know, for others to ask the questions, and then you can hop on that to do your stories. So, I mean, from a very young age, I've been very competitive, you know, in a healthy way. So I took that with me along my journalism journey, and it has really helped me, because then it means that I'm not complacent. It means that I'm going head to head with the best, because that was my target. I mean, I didn't seek to be known or to be popular. I just wanted my work to go ahead of me, right? So if you think of Araba Kumsim, you think of her work ethic, and if she can do the job, yes, she can do the job. And that's all I really wanted, not to be... Honestly, I shy away from the limelight. It's funny that I'm in an industry where the limelight is always on you, but I try and shy away from it. It's just because of the job. If I'm not doing the job, I shy away from the limelight, to be very honest.
Let's stay here. Let's stay here. I love it here, so let's stay here. Today's media personality is a celebrity, right? You can look at it both ways. You are celebrity because people know you, because people see, because you present the news, or because you ask questions on TV. There's that. But also, I find that today's audience, they are not satisfied with your work. They want to know where you live. They want to know where you braid your hair. They want to know who styles you, which shoe you are wearing, you know, who put the dress on you. They want to know where you go for spa. They want to see you on holiday in a bikini, right? So, I mean, it's a new dawn where the media person is forced to engage some more beyond the regular. So it's almost as if you have to form a connection with your audience. You need to have a following on Instagram. You need to have a following on Facebook, and you need to connect with them on a level beyond the work. And I was saying earlier when we're having a conversation that there are people that are known or have a whole life on Instagram that is even separate from their work. There are people that follow celebrities and they've never seen their work. They've never heard them read the news. But that's my idol because of who they are on Instagram. How do you stay authentic with this demand? First of all, do you play? When I say do you play, do you give the audiences that? Because you don't. I'll answer the question before. But then how do you stay authentic? How do you stay you?
You have to be able to strike a balance, because we're in a digital era. You can't run away from it. I mean, most of your audience will be on social media. Not many people are listening to radio and TV nowadays. A lot more people are on their phones, and so you can't run away from that. But you also need to stay authentic. And how do I do that? For me, I don't go beyond. I manage to set boundaries. There are certain things I'll never put on social media.
Like what?
Like, I won't be too personal I won't put a lot of my personal life on social media. Things that you can relate with. I'm an aunt. I have 5 nieces, right? All girls. Girls run the world. Anyway, so I have 5 nieces, and I'm an example to them. They look up to me. They love me. I spend time with them, and so sometimes I show a bit of that of me there. I'm a family person, besides the fact that I work. But I want you to know me for what I do, for my work, right? I can show you a bit about my family, and I don't show too much of my personal life, because I think that personal life and your professional life should be distinct. That's why I'm saying you should strike a certain balance that works for you, because if you don't, you always pander to what people on social media want. Here, I have to put this here because to gain me numbers. If I don't put this, if I don't wear this kind of dress, no. I mean, I think that's why you have to also be self-aware, because if you're always pandering to the whims of people on social media, I mean, there'll be a point where they will love you so much, and a point will come where they will hate you so much. I mean, there's enough examples out there. So you need to know, you need to be able to stand your ground on certain things, that these issues, and people will ask you about it. Hey, so are you married? Are you dating? Why are you dating? A nice girl like you and you're not dating. Are you sure you're not dating a married man? Blah, 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 blah. I mean, these questions will come because people see you, they idolize you, and they want to know more of you. But it's not necessarily the case that you have to put everything out there. And that's one thing I like about Beyonce and Jay-Z. For all their issues, they've managed to make their private life private. They only put out what they want to put out. And that is what I think people should learn how to do, because then it saves you a lot of problems. If you put out personal things, it may come to bite you in the future, because you're the one putting out the content, right? If you don't put it out there, it will not generate any controversy or anything for anybody to jump up and refer to it, make reference to it. But if you are conscious about it and are able to strike that balance and set your boundaries, decide what you are putting out there. You know, if you're doing a good job at what you're doing, people will love you all the same and still come to you.
Absolutely. However, however, you know, media today is about eyeballs. It's about clickbait. You know, and all of us wants those eyeballs. You know, the truth is that I don't think that the average viewer now sticks to one. They shop around.
Yes.
You know, they watch here for this, they watch here for that. You know, so we are literally aiming for the same eyeballs.
Yeah.
There are those who use that then to get the eyeballs fixated on them, and it works. You know. What do you think about it? The extras, the fluff, you know, the extras.
The extras.
To get the eyeballs. And it works for them because whether we like it or not, also what we do is about numbers.
Exactly.
Right? If somebody wants to do something with you, even use you for, say, an MC.
Yes. Yes.
Or to moderate an event, they check your numbers.
Yes.
If I choose Araba and Araba posts my flyer, how many people will see it? So, I mean, it is tricky, isn't it?
It is tricky, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You need to strike a balance. So you put a little bit of this out, you put a little bit of that out. You need to find a clear balance, because if you don't, and like I said, you always pander to the whims of your audience, your online audience, there'll come a time when they will demand too much of you that you can't give, or you give out too much and there'll be a pushback from them. So, yeah, and as much as, you know, I agree with you. We're all going for the same eyeballs, but strike a balance. There's a way of doing it to be visible, yet, you know, still have a certain boundary. There are people who do that on social media that I really admire. So it's possible to do that, but others have gone so far. For them, sometimes I feel it's difficult for them to, you know,
Come back.
yeah.
They're in too deep.
They're in too deep. Yeah, numbers matter. Numbers matter. But I also believe that if your content is authentic and people can relate to it, you still get the eyeballs. You just have to make sure that your content is relatable and, you know, and it's how do you call it? Visually appealing. You can have content that's visually appealing and relatable, but you don't have to do what others do, you know, to get that. You know, there are lots of people on social media. It's just the way you go about it. There's no one rule to everything. There are different ways of doing things and getting the same results. Like they say in Ghana, there are different ways to kill a cat.
Kill a cat.
So yeah.
Right. I mean, what was the move like from Metro to Joy? Were you poached with, you know, juicy tunes?
Oh, well, yes. Should I say I was poached? Yeah, I was, because I was asked to come, but I was taken through an interview when I came. And it was daunting, because Joy at the time had all these big names, Komla Dumo, Matilda Asante, all of these people. And then I was like, wow, I come to work with all these people. In fact, I remember the day that I came for the interview, or the first week that I started work, Komla was sitting at the reception, and I was coming down the steps, and I tripped because I was so nervous. I was like, wow, I'm actually seeing them in the flesh, you know. But then, one thing about me, you never see it on the outside. I'll never show my nervousness on my face. I might be very nervous inside, but on my face, you will never lie. You will never get me. You never get me.
We keep it in.
Exactly. I tripped. So, I mean, I was at Metro, and then again, Atukwamina had gone back to Joy, and I suggested to the editors, Kofi Owusu and Matilda Asante at the time, that I was good material and that they should consider bringing me over. So, yeah, so I applied. They asked me to apply. I applied. I went for an interview. At the time, it was myself and then Elvis Kwashi, who rose to become managing editor of Joy News, but he's passed now. May his soul rest in peace. And I remember Jifa Bampo had gone a month ahead of us. So we were like the newcomers, myself, Jifa Bampo, and Elvis Kwashi. And it was interesting. I think they had read some of my articles, seen some of my reports on TV, and were impressed and said, okay, I think she can fit in. So that is how I got into Joy. I think I got into Joy January 2006. Yes, 2006.
How many
January.
years ago?
Please don't make me feel old.
How many years ago is that?
I know, it's a long time.
2006 you got into Joy. Wow.
Yes, that's a very long
My
time.
math is bad, but I'm thinking, what? I mean, 24 minus...
Please don't do the
Okay.
calculation, don't do the math. No, but it was an interesting environment because, like, people were very competitive with each other and with themselves, you know. I mean, because they had set the bar so high, and so you could not afford to come and lower the bar. So I was always looking up at Bernard Frimpong, who was then the parliamentary correspondent, I think Senna Toklo, and then one other person, Stando, which was there. So all these people, I just used to mimic them. I just used to watch and observe what they were doing, you know, because I didn't want them to have any complaints about me. I knew I was good. I knew I could write well. I knew I could read well, but it's not enough. You know, when the bar is set so high, you may think that you're so good, but actually you're mediocre. If you assess yourself, you're mediocre when you pitch yourself against them. And so you needed to sort of observe and see how they do things and rise, you know, organically, if I may put it that way, in that way. So I actually learned from observing. Of course, there were challenges, and you know, there are challenges everywhere. But there are times when you would feel that your editor is being too hard on you, but you realize that there's a certain standard to meet, and if they don't put that pressure on you, you'll be complacent. So it's in hindsight that you realize that no, what they're doing, it is true. Because I realized that I tried doing the same thing with people who came later, and they felt I was being heavy-handed and all of that. But I realized that not doing that too had its cost, because it meant that people now became a bit complacent. So you were held to a high standard. You're trying to maintain the standard, but the work environment has changed, and you're supposed to be, what's the word? More understanding of your co-workers and subordinates. And in as much as you're trying to be more understanding, you need to also uphold or maintain that standard. But not everybody always gets it. And so what happens is that the cost of that is, of not maintaining that standard, is that they get a bit complacent, and so the standards fall. And so, you know, it was tough when I went to Joy in the beginning. And initially I resented it. But because I'm also tough, I was like, okay, I mean, I love a good challenge. It's tough, but yeah, you will not beat me down. I'll still, you know, rise up to the challenge. And that's, I think, was a survival tactic for me that worked, that I don't see in a lot of young journalists these days, you know, because I would not wait to be given assignments to do. I would do research. I would read. These are all qualities that are missing in a lot of young journalists that I see. I don't know. I suppose, you know, a lot more people are thinking about either the fame and the money as opposed to really being celebrated for the work that they do. Yeah.
Do you think the standards have fallen?
Oh, definitely. But it's across board. Not just journalism, but it's across board. From leadership right down to the bottom. But yeah, standards have fallen in our industry. And you should just do take a cursory glance at what used to happen, maybe say 20 years ago as opposed to today. People are trying, and there are a few bright minds out there, but they're not enough. And you know, journalists are supposed to set the agenda and make people run with it. in a positive way, let me put it that way. And we are not seeing people setting the right agendas that will help in nation building. Agendas for other people's interest is what a lot of people are, pushing. So I feel like, yes, the standards have fallen. And it's difficult because it goes across board, and it's not something that you can easily, what's the word, resolve, because so right now it's rare to find really great journalists when there were so many in the past. It's rare to find really great, and by really great journalists I mean journalists who are sort of like Manasseh. How many Manassehs do we have in Ghana right now? I'm sure we can count on our fingers. Or we should be having more than maybe 20, right? And so it's sad, but we try our best to try and raise others, but sometimes they are influenced, I wouldn't say negatively, but yeah, adversely, but it's because it's not positive. There are other things that are influencing them rather than the work. But you speak to them and some of them argue that, well, you cannot do good journalism on an empty stomach. Oh yeah, they tell you that. And let's be truthful. I mean, a lot of journalists in this country are not paid well, and so they find means of surviving, and through that means they may be compromised. And so yes, standards have fallen. It's tough, but we're just crossing our fingers that it doesn't keep falling. Even me saying this, I know that it will keep falling.
Fingers crossed it won't fall. I mean, you are here, so and we can have this conversation. You've been here for you've been in the space for a while. What do you say to this lack of resources in our industry? We are in a space with such a huge responsibility. We are meant to keep this society on its toes. We are meant to hold up a mirror to ourselves, to our leaders, to the citizens. We are meant to hold corporate entities, everybody to account. We have the toughest responsibility.
Yeah.
And yet we are hungry, literally. I mean, how do we go around this? What do we do as people within the space? I mean, what are the conversations we should be having around resourcing the space so we can be who we are meant to be? How do we do that?
So I think media houses have to rethink how they raise revenue, because initially in the past and even now, most of the revenue came from adverts and from companies placing adverts on for airtime. And there were not many media houses in the past, and so the cake could be shared equally. But now the space is saturated. I mean, it's so saturated. Everybody is trying to grab a piece of the cake, and so there's not enough to go around, and so people are struggling. And you have to think outside of the box. There's no way, otherwise you will die. If you don't find ways of surviving, you will die. As a media house, I think that if you're not making money through advertising revenue, then you should be thinking outside of the box. If there are NGOs that can help, in terms of, like, say, documentaries, fund documentaries and the like, you should think about that. Think about organizing activities that can generate revenue, for the firm. Because if you sit down and you say you're waiting for adverts to run your media empire, your empire can grind to a halt, and we see that there are media houses out there who appear to have money, as opposed to others who really don't. And you wonder, okay, what's the difference? Oftentimes people say, what, government must support media houses, but is that sustainable? How are they going to support them? And for how long? So as a media house, you need to also think outside of the box about how you can raise revenue other than advertising or depending on some sort of government support. So it's tough, and I see some media houses are struggling, but And so because of that, you realize that they don't pay their staff well. And so their staff have to depend on other things. Maybe sometimes being, how do you call it, compromised in certain situations in order to make additional money. But I know quite a number of people who've had to take up second jobs, if I may say it that way. I mean, do other things to, you know, sort of add on to the salaries they get because they are passionate about the job. You know, it doesn't, the salaries are inadequate.
Right. Right.
So yeah, there should be a rethink, and because the advertising revenue is not going to increase, especially in these times when we have, you know, the economy is, you know, on a downhill. And so I don't know, but I think that managers of media houses must think outside of the box. They must think of other ways of making their institutions survive, because you cannot do the same thing, because you've been doing the same things and you're not getting the results that you want to see. So time to change
strategy.
how you go about it.
Change strategy. So, I mean, in our space, and I love that we are having this frank conversation, the men are accused of frolicking with politicians, you know, and being given money to advance, you know, viewpoints and fight courses. You know, we hear people take on issues and we say, hey, he's going for something, right? There's that. But for us, the women, we are accused of being promiscuous, you know, to fund our lifestyles. What do you say to that? Now, it's like when people think media girls, we are not in that. We are not girls, so, you know. But I'm saying
that perception is out there.
It's a strong perception.
No, actually, I've heard it from people.
Perception. Yeah.
And even in the past, people who I've dated, their friends have said, be careful, oh, she's a media girl. These media girls, they are promiscuous, so they all sleep with the big men. And so that perception is out there, but it is up to you. I don't know what other people do. I can only speak for myself, and it is up to you. They will come. The men will come. I mean, I've had advances from elderly men, from, you know, influential people. You have to know your worth. You have to. And I find this, that a lot of the girls, because they are in the limelight, they feel validated by a powerful man taking interest in them. I've never been like that, so maybe I'm different. I don't know. You know, they come, and I have conversations with them. And so for me, I'm able to keep them at bay without being disrespectful. And so there's a certain level of respect they give me. And so we're able to banter on a certain level that maybe others cannot, you know. I would go head to head with a politician and discuss, you know, political issue, argue with them, make my points, and still maintain a friendship with them. And so that respect is there. Maybe others don't have that. But the point is that you need to be self-aware. You need to stand your ground, and you don't have to be easily swayed. I'm saying this easily because maybe I can do it, but I don't know about other girls, because a lot of young girls are easily swayed, easily influenced.
It's alluring. So you finished journalism school, you know, you found yourself in the media, and, you know, big men you've probably heard about, seen on TV, read about, are coming on to you. It is tempting. It is tempting.
Very tempting.
It's very tempting.
Yes.
You know. So, I mean, let's say interns come to Joy, and, you know, as editors, the big madam, you know, enjoy. What do you, first of all, do you go there with them? And if you do, what do you say to them? How do you prepare them for the inevitable? Because these big men will come at you. It's just what it is.
Well, so what we do is, as interns, let me be frank, we don't have any sort of dialogue or talk with them about these vices, if I may call them that, people coming onto them. But at multimedia, we have certain guidelines against the harassment. So they are informed about this, so they know, even though I'm sure that people still find their way around. But, you know, people will not let you in on what they're doing. They may be doing a good job, going out there doing the stories, but you will never know that they are, you know, being lured by these people, right? You would never know. Sometimes when you suspect it and you tell them that, you know, you need to be careful, they're like, oh, okay, of course, I'm being a... Sometimes they shrug your advice away and they don't listen to you. But, you know, there's so much you can do. I mean, if you told the person that you have to be careful, and the person decides not to listen because they have a target, they want to be famous and they want money, and so they'll go ahead anyway. So at the end of the day, it comes down to you. What do you want your respect to be maintained? What do you want? And stand your ground. I feel like also if you are principled, and we're seeing a shortage of that in the industry, if you're principled, you'll be able to stand your ground and, you know,
keep it as what it is.
Keep it as
what it is. Do you think that, and I think I asked this question in another way, I'm asking the question very directly. Do you think that you're a celebrity? Do you think that a journalist is a celebrity?
You know, I mean, the word celebrity has become so bastardized. I mean, people become known for 2 seconds and then they're seen as a celebrity, or they become known for some nefarious thing that they did that everybody talked about and they become a celebrity. But no, I think that for me, growing up, the word celebrity was synonymous with actors and actresses. That's what I knew celebrities to be, because you see them in the movies, they're living larger than life. You know, they have larger than life personalities and all of that. Those were celebrities to me, not newscasters, not journalists. Even though I had role models who were journalists, Christina Mampo, I don't see her as a celebrity. I see her as a respected senior peer, right? Not a celebrity. But I find that these days people want to be known, and you see that with young people who are coming out of journalism school, especially ladies, they want to be in front of the camera so that they are visible, and then, you know, their names are on the lips of people, not for the work they are doing, but the fact that their faces are out there. And that is the problem. That is the problem. So there ought to be a mind shift change.
Right, absolutely. My other question to you is, you know, and you spoke about this, the fact that for a lot of us, we have to do other things, you know, to keep the passion going. You know, you do farming. I asked the farmer. Let's talk about that. Listen, we are rooting for you, Farmer of the Year 2025.
No, agric is the future, honestly. You know that Africa has the world's largest arable lands.
Right.
Yeah, but a lot of it is left unutilized. So, I mean, agric is the future. So how do I get into farming? Everybody keeps asking me, so why would you move from such a glamorous job to go into a job where you have to get yourself dirty and you're sweating all the time? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, why would you move from here to here? Do you see where my hands are? Move from here to here. But it's actually like this in reality. So I had gotten to a point where I needed a bit of a challenge. And someone gave me a proposal that, you know what, I have a piece of land there. We've been talking about farming and all of that, but we haven't really put it into practice. So there's this land here that is just lying bare. Why don't we do something with it and split the profits? And that's how it all started. Yeah, so, I mean, it's been a very interesting...
Before that, did you have any interest in farming?
Not
Before
really.
this proposal?
Not really, except that when we were younger, my dad had a farm in the central region. So on holidays, would go and help him out on the farm, you know. And so those are just my experiences on a farm growing up. But I remember that I enjoyed the outdoors. I enjoyed the whole process of helping to plant maize, you know, and watering it, you know. It's therapeutic, for lack of a better word. It's therapeutic, you know, being out there in the open. Of course, it's a lot of work, especially when the sun is shining and then you're sweating. Yeah, it's a lot of work and it can be tiring.
So you are not, you are involved in the process. You are not just a farmer who sits at home and lets people work on the farm. You're actually involved in the process.
I'm involved to a large extent, not always on the farm with my hands in the soil, but from the planting stage, because I source the seeds and then the inputs, acquisition of the inputs, like maybe tractors or the pesticides and all of that, acquisition of that. And then, of course, I'm my own HR manager and it's a small company, so I'm still dealing with HR issues. And so, yes, paying the salaries of the farmers and whatever issues that they have. But yeah, I mean, I'm there at the time when they are planting and then most importantly harvesting and when there are issues on the farm as well. But I try to go there at least 3 times a week. So we have 3 farms in separate locations.
Wow.
Yes. So
in one
yes. So in one location we do lettuce. We've started with carrots and green pepper as well, and then another we do just plantain, and then in another we do garden eggs, okra, and then corn. So yes, it's been really. It's been an interesting journey.
Wow.
Yes. People ask me, so are you really enjoying it? I'm like, yes, I am. I guess it comes from the fact that growing up, I've been I was the adventurous type and the outdoorsy type. So, like, you're at one with nature. So, I like it. People might not understand, but I enjoy
No, we
it.
love it for you. We love it for you. And I see the pictures on social media. And I'm just like, oh, this is so inspiring. This is so inspiring.
Thank you.
Because we talk about things that, as young people, we can do to turn things around, And for me, here you are in the media, winning, right? Because your presence in the media is compelling. But then you take it a notch higher, right? And you get into agric, right? And there too, you are winning. And for me, it's sending the signal out there that, hey, young person, there's so much to do. There's so much to do. Sometimes it's not just
so
about
much
the glam.
fixation on blue collar jobs, and I feel like it is to the detriment of jobs that are not like office jobs per se. So it's important for people to contemplate. Right now, their mind is in a box. If I'm not in an office, I don't want a job that doesn't require me to be in an office. But no, you need to be open-minded about opportunities out there that would not require you to sit in an office, but you can still make money. But
Does it pay?
It pays a lot. Because see, one thing I always say, but I mean, it depends on the volumes that you're selling as well. You cannot sell small and then make a little money, but you have to start from somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I always say that. Listen, you can decide today that you switch your data off and not watch TV, radio, or even go on social media. You can decide they are not, whatever, but you cannot decide not to eat, right? If you don't eat for, let's say, 10 days, you might die, right? You can't survive on water for, okay, let's say even Jesus fasted for 40 nights and 40 days and 40 nights. Let's say 50 days. Can you say you're not eating for 50 days, 50 whole days? Nothing, just water. Food is life. So for doing agric, and you see there are lots of not young people, but there are lots of people in agric who are not visible. They are not out there, but they're making money. They're making money. But I think it's important not to gatekeep. And that's why, we're spreading the gospel about the fact that there's money in the soil. You just need to be prepared to,
Dig it.
dig it and find it. Yes. Put in the effort.
Dig it.
Yes.
Dig it.
That's what
Dig
it
it. Dig it. Dig it. Ooh, I'm loving this conversation already. I want to take a quick break at this point. I have some messages for you. People have said some things about you.
Okay.
And I want to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I have some more questions for you.
Okay.
Stay with us. Be right back.
Araba Kumsin, who is she? What's she like? I've already mentioned she's a tough nut. And she has, I don't know, she's such a perfect mix, hard and soft. So Araba, right before the news goes, whether it's midday or whatever, and if she's there doing the final editing, you don't want to cross her because you know what? Yeah, no two ways about that. I've seen, people come through, some interns, others national service people. I usually wouldn't get into that situation with her because I'm not on that beat. But I've seen people, you don't want to cross her. And even if I needed something, if she needs something at that time, oh yeah, she'll be cool with you and she'll give you a little pressure. But if you want to cross her at that time, Charlie, you see the other side. But she's so good at what she does. And I guess that explains her longevity in this business. So if you asked me to describe Araba Kumsin, I would say firm.
I'll never forget the first time I met Araba Kumsin. It was my first day at work here as the host of the Super Morning Show. And I was invited to meet the news team during their editors meeting. And Araba was chairing the meeting. And she has such an iron fist. She was asking these probing questions, making people sweat. And there I was being introduced to them my first day on the job, and Araba Kumsin's first question to me was, do you have a girlfriend? She had a way of getting straight to the matter, and even though she meant it as a joke, that is quite literally her trademark. In all interviews, in all conversations, Araba Kumsin takes you straight to the heart of the issue, and that has become her trademark. And in this industry where everybody is trying to bring some credibility to bear, Araba Kumsin does it effortlessly. She is the symbol of credibility in our industry, and she has so much respect from her peers. In everything she does, she demonstrates that poise and grace, knowledge, intelligence, beauty that makes journalism attractive. And she takes that work ethic into every single thing she does. Today, she's one of the people making farming sexy in Ghana. And many young people are turned on by how she is doing her thing in the agricultural sector. Today, as we get to learn more about Araba, all I want to say to you is this. If you are watching this, if you are learning Araba Kumsin's story today, count yourself lucky that you were alive in the era of Araba Kumsin.
Did you hear Kujo? He said you're making agriculture sexy. You're telling us all agriculture.
I mean, I'm blushing. Kujo has a way with words, He has a way with words. I mean, I'm just speechless.
And you had Benjamin before him.
Yes.
But you see, one thing runs through for me. It's one, the word respect, and my goodness, Araba, you have it from all of us, right? He talks about your colleagues respect you. It's spot on. Look at me, spot on. Like, it just comes. When you think Araba Kumsin, you cannot disrespect Araba Kumsin. I mean, for what, right? But then another thing runs through. They say you are firm. Actually, one of them said iron fist. I can't remember if it was Benjamin. It was Benjamin. He said iron fist, And I mean, hey, we need to get the work done. No?
When it's time to get the work done, it's time to get the work done. And I have laser focus when I'm editing, especially when it's close to midday, one thing that I think one of the editors told me, I forget who it is, but they said that, you know what, you can never tell the listener that, you were doing something, so you delayed in delivering the news. There can never be any excuse for delaying the news, no matter what. So you need to be. Some people actually set their timers using our midday news beat. So once they hear it, they know it's 12 o'clock. I have to go and do whatever it is. But the point is that at the end of the day, when it's time to work, you need to be focused on the work. You need to make sure that, because we are running against a deadline. Before midday, you need to make sure that your stories are there. Unless, of course, there's a running story, something that's happening, and then you need to get updates. You need to make sure that you have everything. Unless, of course, it's a breaking news story or something like that. But the point is that you need to be focused when you are working. When we're working, we're working. And when we are playing, we are playing. They can tell you when it's time to joke around and play. I joke around and play with them. But when it's time for the news, I don't want any excuses. And so oftentimes you hear me, the point is that we're gathering information to deliver to the listening audience, right? So if you're not getting information that you have promised your audience that you're going to give, you have to think outside of the box and think of a way of getting a secondary person or whatever, but you cannot disappoint the listener. And so oftentimes when we are rushing for this, the stories, in gathering the stories, and we are facing some sort of obstacles, the minister's not picking up, public servants are not picking up, whoever it is that we're supposed to speak to are not picking up, I always tell them, so think outside of the box. What would you do? So I have one of my former colleagues, I think Francis Abba, who always would be imitating me and saying, okay, what would Araba do in this instant if you are supposed to be calling someone for a response to some issue and you're not getting the person? What's the next best thing you can do? Because you can't disappoint the right. And so sometimes I suppose I'm a bit heavy-handed, and so people think that, and that's why he talked about iron fist.
Margaret Thatcher.
Yes. Because I'm like, I want it no matter what. I don't want any excuses. But right after the news,
we are chill. And I've seen a lot of posts from Francis, to you, Francis, really, he says the best things about you.
Great talent.
He talks about how you helped him, groom him. I'd have loved for Francis if you would arrange that, because you're coming back, But here's what. How do you sustain passion through the years in the same field? Especially a thankless field such as ours, right? How do you keep the momentum, which is what I see you do, right? You feel it's upbeat for you year 1, year 2, year 3. It's the same every year, going with the same passion, with the same level of dedication, the same level of, commitment. In a space that doesn't often give you your flowers the way it should. How are you doing this? How are you keeping that verve, going all these years?
It's a tough question to answer. The only way I can answer it is that passion is innate. It's like a fire burning inside of you. So no matter what, if your salary has delayed, if you're facing challenges or whatever it is, you still are interested. It's a genuine interest, right? Such that you don't think about other things that could hold you back, like maybe poor salary or even newsroom politics or whatever it is. There's an innate, insatiable desire to know what's happening and to tell people what is happening and to keep government officials on their toes, and to ensure justice. All of these things, I believe that it distinguishes one journalist from the other. One journalist may not have passion, and so at the least instance, they may be, the fire may be snuffed out, for lack of a better word. So they will not approach the work with the same energy that someone who is genuinely interested and that passion is lit from inside, it's innate, would do. And I always make the example of my colleague Evans Mensah, who at any time of the day, whether it's midnight or whatever, you call him to do the job, he can just, even in his sleep, he can do the job.
He's ready.
He's ready, ever ready, because he understands the job, he knows what it takes, and he researches, and he just has a genuine desire to do the job and do it well. Right. And I think that's how you maintain
Right.
that credibility.
I've seen a few editorials that you've done. And, you know, for some of your editorials, you are like, hey, you are not joking. For some of your editorials, you are just like, listen, things are not going well. I'm going to say it the way it is. You know, let's go. And sometimes I'm concerned, you know. I do the same thing, but sometimes I'm concerned for you because you're my sister, right? That you're going to get tagged. In our space, it's easy to get tagged. It's easy for somebody to say, oh, she's NDC, oh, she's NPP, and discredit you because of that. Think about that. I have a call on the line for you. When we come back, you answer that. So, hello.
Hi.
Hi, Israeliah.
Yes.
Izzy.
It's great to hear your
Izzy,
voice.
you better say only good things about me.
What's she saying? I didn't hear that.
No, we can't hear her. We can't hear her. We cannot hear her. It's great to have you here.
Yes.
Please, how is it like working with Araba Kumsin? What's that like?
Well, she's quite principled, and she wants things done in a certain way, and she wouldn't compromise. So yes, she wants the job done. That's the most important thing for her, and that's the kind of person she's been for as long as I've known her.
Right. Well, I mean,
Or do you want me to add some more?
Yeah, of course. I need you to give us the juice, right? I mean, what would you say would be the most memorable moments with Araba at work?
The most memorable.
The most memorable, something you'd always remember about
We had
her.
a fight.
What did he say?
We had a fight.
We had a fight.
Oh, you had to tell us, please. Tell us. Do share.
No. This one I will never say. I mean, I can only tell you that we had a fight, but that's it. I'm not going to add any more. If she chooses to, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, that's that one thing that I'll never forget. But it also shows how it was about work, okay. But it also shows how valuable the friendship is. So yes, we can fight over work, but that's it. We can resolve our differences and get along. So that should tell you something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So what we see is real. You guys are actually friends.
Oh yeah. We are friends. I mean, she comes to my house. I've been to her house. My wife calls her Junior.
Junior wife, as a junior wife, not junior sister.
And she sends me on errands. She sends me on errands. Please ask her about the errands she's been sending me on.
Israeliah, thank you for your time. You may leave now.
No, this is my show. No, this is my show. What's her favorite food?
No. I didn't say what it was that she asked me to do. I just said that she sent me on errands.
I'm gonna ask her what errand it is. But what's her favorite food? For instance, in the morning, what would you catch Araba Kumsin eating, at Joy FM in the morning?
Wachi.
Yeah, that's easy. Yes.
Right. Or she's gonna do she would do kenke and add everything to it, like kenke, shrimps, fried egg.
Israeliah,
you
think I'm a lady.
Right?
Why are you spoiling my image?
So she do the whole 9 yards.
Right. We understand the energy now. It's the kinky, isn't it? What have you always wanted to tell her? What would you like to tell Araba?
Oh, what is it that I've wanted to tell her that I've been told her already? Maybe let me repeat. So, in recent times she's gone into farming. And it's one of the most remarkable things I've seen her do. And I'm very proud of her. And I think I've told her, I made it clear to her that I'm available to support her. So, yeah, she's I will her back.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for being a good boy and not divulging everything on air. I know you are capable of that, so I'm very grateful.
So she can make lettuce available to us, so we can use it for our sandwiches. I mean, the other day, so I'm into influencer marketing now. We have a show called, something called Camcho. So we bring food content creators together, and she supplied us farm produce, and she brought us lettuce fresh from the farm, and then we were having a podcast, and we gave it to the chef influencer, and she fixed some sandwiches for us, and it was really lovely. Yeah. She can tell you more about that experience, but we want to have a lot more of that.
Yes.
I'm really proud of it.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you. And hopefully one day we'll have you here.
Yeah, no problem.
Sure.
And when you have him, please call me.
I will call you. Yes.
Rapzo.
Thank you. Well, that was the Israelite, and like I'm saying, you have a beautiful relationship with your colleagues, and this space is competitive. It is. It really is. And for somebody that's so focused on the job, and it's also quite competitive. So I asked an earlier question. Let's answer this and come back. How do you strike the balance? And it just speaks about the two of you fighting, on the job, and it happens. I fight here too, But how do you keep the balance between work and friendship? Sometimes it even becomes like a brotherhood, like he's your brother, more or less. How do you keep it going? How do you, remember that even though it's work and I have to be hard, it's still Israelite. I have to remember that Israelite is my person.
That's exactly what it is. At the end of the day, you notice that these things they're fleeting. The friction that you have with your co-worker over an issue, and it's about the work. It's not personal. It's not about you. It's not about what you do in your private life. It's about the work. So we can disagree. It may cause some tensions, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, when you go back and then you reflect on it, you realize that, no, this is too small for you to keep a grudge over, I mean, fighting is important sometimes because you won't always be on the same page. And you have to sort of face off each other and then make your points until one person's points generally flaws everybody else's because it makes the most sense, and then you all understand and you run with it. But it's normal to have these things, and so at the end of the day you realize that good friendships are hard to come by. So it's important to reflect on that, and then if you have to go and say sorry and then make amends and then move on, you do.
Absolutely.
It doesn't kill.
How about the partisanship? You are NDC, you are MPP. Look at Araba. Yesterday she said this. Today she's doing an editorial. How are you managing that?
I ignore it. I think I'm generally mentally tough. I'm mentally tough. So there are lots of things that may break other women. But for me, I just shrug it off. And I can tell you that even irritates or irks a lot of people who expect me to be angry. So I know that people may tag you to be, an affiliate of one party or the other based on what you're saying at what particular point in time. But also you have to understand that when people know your work and you've been consistent, I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. When people know your work and you've been consistent and you have some level of credibility, these accusations may come, but it won't stick. After a while, I mean, people just forget about it. But people really understand and know that you're doing your job and that these things come anyway. So, I mean, I've had these things thrown at me.
What's the worst experience? What's the worst experience you found? What's the worst?
Oh, I mean, could I call it the worst? But anyway, I mean, I did one of the editorials and then Kennedy Japan came out insulting me,
Oh, you end Kennedy Japan?
Yes. He was insulting me that, okay, it was about the former maritime boss,
Right.
and who had, spent so much money on renovating an official residence. And we had made the point that this amount of money didn't need to be spent. And apparently this man, who later turned out to be his campaign manager, right, when Kennedy was, gunning for the flag bearership of the NPP. So he said that, well, this man pays more tax than you. You're so poor. I mean, how much do you pay in tax anyway? So, I mean...
Oh, I saw that.
You saw that, yes. I really come against it. And the second thing, the same person, Kennedy, I remember the Ejura shootings, the shootings in Ejura, when the military went on the ground and then were shooting. So that day, there were media houses were there, but they were not in the specific area where the shooting happened. But someone had alerted one of our reporters that the soldiers are in town, and the way they are agitated, they may start shooting. So we turned our cameras on, and then we kept rolling. It was live, so we got everything on tape. And I tell you, Ama, if that thing had not been caught on tape at the time that it did, a lot of things would have been swept under the carpet. So when the Kumsin the committee was set up to investigate it, the narrative out there was that Joy FM, Joy News was trying to take the country down the path of destruction in the same way that had happened in Rwanda. And that was the narrative from the NPP side, the communicators and the like. And I remember coming out on social media and calling one of them a barking dog. In literature, when you bark a lot, it means you're making a lot of noise. But I think they misinterpreted it as me insulting them and didn't take kindly to it. And, just attacked me left, right, and center. But I have a tough skin. I expected it, And the same Kennedy Japan went to stand somewhere and say that, all sorts of things. I mean, just basically accusing me and Joy of, all sorts of things. And I think that we're even in court with him. So these things come. But I feel like if you have thick skin, you need to develop thick skin because they are bound to come. But you also need to be principled. And because they will... Sorry. You also need to be principled because they will attack your credibility. That's what they will come for because they know people respect you. So they'll try and attack your credibility. And if they feel like that, then they'll just attack you anyway because they're like, what the heck, let me just attack you for attack's sake. So it's bound to come. You just have to make sure that you're doing the right thing. The right thing. You cannot be seen to be doing the right thing, criticizing the government, trying to put them on their toes, and meanwhile compromising yourself in a certain way. I mean, you will be exposed. So when that happens and you have tough skin, you know that you have your credibility untainted. You're good to go. You're practically invincible, and that's that's how I feel. I feel like you can come at me, but I'll come back at you.
Be ready. You better be ready when you come at me.
Yes.
You better be ready.
So that's what it is. So that's what Benjamin means by I'm both hard and soft. People look at me and think, look, you look so soft, like a teddy bear, until they scratch me. And then I scratch their eyes out. And they're like, by you too, because they didn't see it coming.
Right.
But that's what it is.
Right.
You don't poke a bear.
Do not poke a bear. Do not poke a bear. I love it.
Even when the bear looks like a teddy bear.
Do not try it. Do not try it. I love it. Because it is our responsibility to keep the society going.
Yeah. And sometimes the audacity is too much. People think they can take advantage of whatever platforms or whatever they have to sort of try and destroy you and pull you down. But, it's not everybody that will cower in shame or, go and tuck their tails between their legs.
Wow.
Not everybody.
Listen, your back is strong. That's a backbone. That's a backbone. And there has to be a reason why your back is that strong. It's like you have shock absorbers, right? I'm guessing it's from family.
Yes.
It's from family. Let's talk about your mom. Let's talk about your dad. Let's talk about your family. Let's talk about the people that keep you grounded and strong and real.
No, I look at all my family members. Do you know that, okay, I'm the eldest of 4.
Right.
And I have two sisters and one brother. One has passed, one sister has passed. They are all very laid back, very docile. And I'm like the black sheep. So sometimes I wonder, because my mom is not overly, she's not like that. My dad too is quite laid back. So I look at all my family members and I'm like, my grandfather, who is my mom's dad, was a disciplinarian. Always put his foot down, doesn't want to see injustice. And I feel like maybe that's where I got it from. And my mom's grandmother, that's my mom's mother, who, by the way, is northern. She was short, but she was very tough. Even in her, she went past 100 years, but she was climbing a flight of stairs, two stories, even at that age. So it tells you something about how tough she was. So maybe that's where I got it from, but I really don't know. But I have this sense of invincibility that it's only God who can put me down. That's I don't know where it comes from, Mama. I don't know. Maybe I don't know where it comes from. Yeah. So sometimes that attitude maybe reflects, on the outside in a way that people misinterpret as arrogance or condescending, but it's really not that. And I've heard that from people who later got to know me closely and realize that, but you would never know until you. So oftentimes, people's first impressions of me are like, oh, she's
Truly African.